Before European ships found the Bight of Benin, a city was already old. A city walled, ordered, and ruled by a sacred king. But the story that survives is often the one conquerors tell. Tonight, we followed the forbidden thread, the power of women behind the throne, the science of earth and brass, and how the fall of 1897 still echoes in courtrooms and museums today. AfroTales TV, where every story lives.
For centuries, the Edo people shaped their land into moats and ramparts, not just for war, but for order. These were not small ditches. They stretched for thousands of kilometers, circling towns, farms, shrines, a living system of walls that told everyone who belonged and who did not. Some archaeologists call it the longest pre-mechanical earthwork in world history, built not by machines, but by generations with hoes, baskets, and a vision of protection.
In the 1400s, one name changed everything: Ewuare the Great. He rose from civil war and rebuilt the capital into something new. Broad avenues stretched from the palace like spokes of a wheel. Markets were placed with precision. Sacred groves were marked, and festivals timed to the rhythm of kingship. Benin was no longer just a city. It was a stage where every street, every ritual, every guild served the Oba's vision. Benin's genius was not just its kings, but its guilds. Royal guilds of woodcarvers, ivory sculptors, court historians, and the brass casters of Igun Street. Their oath was not only to skill, but to secrecy. The method of lost wax casting was guarded like a ritual, passed down through family lineages, never shared lightly. Even today in Benin City, the guild still works. Each statue, each plaque, a fragment of memory carried forward. But behind the throne, power wore coral. In the early 1500s, Idia, the Queen Mother, fought for her son Izigi. Through war, through diplomacy, she secured his crown. When she died, the Oba immortalized her with brass heads for the altar. Her image, high collar, coral beads, scarified cheeks, became eternal. From that moment, the title Eoba, Queen Mother, was enshrined. A woman's voice woven.
When the Portuguese arrived in the late 1400s, they brought brass currency, manillas.
Was a mother.
Benin artists melted them down, feeding their craft. But here is the forbidden truth. The skill was already there. The lost wax method, the style, the symbolism, rooted in centuries of West African tradition. On palace plaques, Portuguese soldiers appear not as masters,
European traders wrote
exotic
about Benin
figures
city plan,
woven into Benin's visual language
imposing
of power.
moats,
Contact
a court
changed
so orderly
materials
that ambassadors
not
feared
identity.
silence. But back home, many doubted it. They could not believe such complexity was African. Archaeology later proved it. The earthworks, spanning hundreds of kilometers, dated between 700 and 1400 CE. A quiet rebuttal to centuries of dismissal. A British party entered the ground itself during sacred festival days. They were ambushed outside the city. Who gave the order? Historians still debate. But Britain's answer was swift. In February, troops invaded. The Oba Ovonramwen was exiled. The city burned, and thousands of royal works, ivory, brass, coral, were seized. Those pieces, once altars
But the
of memory,
story didn't
were
die.
carried to London,
In
Berlin,
2025, the Netherlands
Benin's
returned
story was
119
locked in
pieces
glass
to
cases.
Nigeria. Germany, Britain, and others now face similar demands. The Oba of Benin has been named custodian of these treasures. Plans for a royal museum are underway. Each bronze is not just art. It is a testimony.
So what
A
is the
homecoming
forbidden Benin
document.
story? That kingship was never just a throne. It was mothers and guilds, moats and memory, metal and ritual. A city that engineered its earth, that recorded its history in brass, that survived conquest through the stubborn permanence of art. AfroTales TV, where every story lives.